Okay, we're going to get started. I'm using a mic, even though you can't hear me on the microphone, like on the speakers, because this is for the live stream and for the recording. So it's awkward. I just wanted to let you guys know. Thanks for coming tonight. My name's Angela Johnson. Welcome to Fabric. And, if this is your first time here or your first time at Behind the Seams, I want to give you a little introduction to who we are and what this is. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to get into our program, and we're going to allow for a few more people to get here. I'm so excited because we had a sold out event tonight. So I know there's more. Yay! I know there's more people coming. Okay, so first thing, let me introduce you guys to what Fabric is, tell you a little bit about this place. Fabric is actually an acronym that stands for the Fashion and Business Resource Innovation Center. And we're a nonprofit fashion incubator. And basically, we're helping people who want to start fashion brands. That's a good way to think about it. So all the resources somebody would need to be able to start a fashion brand are here, and they're online and they're physical. And if you think of it, we probably do it. There's just a lot of different things. So I'm going to tell you about those things. But our main purpose here is to help apparel entrepreneurs. And instead of calling them fashion designers, we call them apparel entrepreneurs, because people who want to start a sewn product brand doesn't necessarily mean what you might think. It's not always a red carpet dress. It could be a medical device. It could be athleisure or whatever. It could be somebody who never went to design school and they don't call themselves a fashion designer. They just call themselves an entrepreneur who is making a sewn product. So that's really what we're trying to do, is help those people. And we're a nonprofit as well. And so we want to help by providing free and discounted programs and services so that it's a little easier to start a clothing brand, because it's actually really expensive to start a clothing brand. We want to help people save some of their money to manufacture their clothing by providing lots of education and resources and things that will help them find what they need and collaborate with other people, events like this. And so being a nonprofit allows us to be able to do that. And our mission, our actual mission is to help the entrepreneur, and our vision is more of a planet-focused one where we want to change the industry, because the industry is really broken right now and it's ready for disruption. It's been ready for a long time. It's very unsustainable. It's very unethical. Sweatshops are, the thing that makes it so clothing is really affordable. And it's us as consumers who are driving that. We want cheap clothing. And so, it's gotten to the point where clothing is so cheap that it's unbelievable that we can even make things that cheap. And obviously something went wrong if clothing is that cheap. So things need to change. And the world is starting to think about this differently and starting to care a little bit more, but there's a lot of people that want to get into the industry to make better clothes, because the fast fashion stuff is just trash. And most of it is made out of polyester and other man-made materials that is going to sit in our landfill, and all that overproduction, all that stuff sitting there forever. Who knows how long it's going to take to biodegrade. And those big brands are making such generic clothing, and it's made so poorly that it's disposable. So that gives an entryway for an apparel entrepreneur to fill a void in the marketplace and to create something that's unique and special and needed, and not just another thing that we're going to toss in the garbage. And the problem is that they're up against the lack of resources domestically, and the only place to manufacture is overseas in these really unethical ways. And so it's tough to get into this industry, and we want to help change that. So by providing resources domestically, by reshoring, by adding technology to make it more sustainable, those are the ways that we can help apparel entrepreneurs in their journey to make a better product, and therefore to help the planet. So people-focused mission, planet-focused vision. And we've donated $15 million worth of free and discounted programs and services since we opened in 2016. So $15 million worth of free stuff so that the entrepreneurs save money. And then we've helped about 2,500 apparel entrepreneurs start their businesses. It doesn't mean there's 2,500 successful brands, because it's tough. All the stars have to align. You have to have a good idea. You have to have money. You have to be willing to learn and follow our guidance. And you have to have all kinds of things come together. But if they do, this is the place where you can make those dreams come true. And we have a lot of great testimonials and great success stories. You can find everything on our website, on our testimonial page. Some brands that are really doing it, and some are on their way to doing it, that are in this room tonight. We're actually going to meet a couple of them in just a minute. So let me tell you about the free resources that we have. So if you are in this room, you might be a free member. Most likely you are. And if you're not, go to the website, click on membership and become one, because there's a lot of benefits. And one of those benefits is you get to come to events like this for free. We really try to make things like this possible. We document all of this and report it in our nonprofit reporting and everything. And so documenting and reporting it means sign up for these things, come to these things, help us so we can get more grants and keep doing things like this. We have a directory on our website where if you're a business, you can put your business in the directory for free. That's free advertising for you. It's also great SEO. If you know anything about Google search, if you have a link from our website to your website, it's a legit website that is saying, hey, Google, that's a legit website. So that will help you just get, ranked higher on your Google search. So put your business in there. If you're not a business and you just love fashion and you're here to support, go to the directory and find a local brand and buy from them. And a lot of them are in this room tonight. So buy from these people. You can find hair, makeup models, boutiques, textile companies, sewing factories, pattern makers, anything fashion related is in that directory. So if you're not using it, please do. That's what we built it for. It's a lot to upkeep, and I hope you're benefiting from it. We also have an online events calendar. So if you're looking for all the fashion weeks, if you're looking for the trade shows, if you're looking for the textile shows, all the things in the industry that are important, they're on our one calendar. You don't have to go figure out where to find these things. And then if you're having your own event, give it to me and I'm going to put it on there because I want to help you promote your event. And then we have events too. So that calendar has everybody else's events and ours, and we try to make ours free or really affordable to participate in or to attend. So if you're about to do a fashion show, you want to put your stuff on a runway, we have Eco Fashion Week every year in April, and most of those events are free. You can put your stuff on that runway. You can be part of the pop-up. They're less than $100 if we charge anything. We have an annual fashion show called the Label Hoard Fashion Show that we just had a couple of weeks ago, and usually that's under $100 to participate. Free for standing room if you want to attend. Seats are $15. I mean, it's things like that. And then this event that you're at tonight. So Behind the Seams is something that we started doing years ago as a way to bring you guys together every month so that you can learn from each other and you can actually network with each other. Hopefully you meet people here tonight that you can hire and you can work with. And it's so different every single time. It's a different topic. It's a different speaker. We learn everything from sustainability and technology to branding to marketing to pattern making to creative, very wearable art that we had just recently. I mean, just cool stuff every single time. And so if you missed any of these, you can find them on our website. If you just go to the events page, click on Behind the Seams, you can watch all the past ones that we have had. And that's free education right there, because this is always educational. Every time you come in here, we're trying to teach something. So our guest speakers always teach us something, and we're going to learn from them tonight. Then we actually have a classifieds page. So if you're looking for a fashion job, go on our website and you can find fashion jobs. If you're a designer and you need textiles, you need wholesale textiles. You need to buy from the mills and the suppliers. We have a whole free sourcing library right in that room right there that you can come in and use. If you're an apparel entrepreneur, it's free. And so there's just lots of resources. Sign up for our newsletter because that's how you're going to know about all these. That's how I share grants and classes and events and things like that. And there's way more than I can even get to tonight. We also have an apparel entrepreneur program here, and inside our program is a roadmap. And the roadmap guides people through how to get their product developed so that they have patterns, tech packs, samples, so that they have sourced wholesale materials and trims so that they can manufacture small batches domestically. It walks you through, it literally holds your hand through everything. There's downloadable documents and videos and everything that you need, resources, connections. And then I'm here along the way to help you through the whole entire thing as well. So that also has business assistance, where to get funding, what business licenses do you need, how to brand, how to market this. It's everything within that one roadmap. So apparel entrepreneurs sign up for this, and this is how they get through all of this. And speaking of apparel entrepreneurs, every time we do Behind the Seams, one of the benefits of being one of our official apparel entrepreneur members, if you're in the roadmap and you're one of those members, then you get to introduce your brand at Behind the Seams. So I'm going to ask you tonight to raise your hand if you're an apparel entrepreneur member. And yay, Nate. And I'm going to have you introduce yourself to the audience and make sure you speak really close. I just got red lipstick on my microphone. Make sure you speak really closely to this.
How's it going, you guys? My name is Nate. I run a brand called Recherche Studios. We make streetwear. It's LA, New York inspired. It's pretty cool. You guys should check it out.
And then where can they find it?
www.recherchestudios.com.
And the jacket he's wearing is one of his. And he's also a fabric intern, started here, learned a lot from fabric, and now he's making all of his clothes himself. So we're really proud of Nate. Yay. Yes, let's give him a hand. Okay, apparel entrepreneur members. I know a few of you. I'm just going to call you out.
Oh my gosh. Hi, my name is Hiroko Widlow. And yes, I'm a membership for I don't know how many years, but anyhow, I couldn't do this without her help. She helped me a lot. So, and my company is my brand name is Captivation by Rocco, and I'm more comfortable for traveling people clothing, and then so my garment is comfortable and flexible. And if you go to my website, Captivation by Rocco, you can see my old stuff. Okay.
Yay. She's wearing one of her tops right now, too. It's amazing. She's really talented. All right. And she's gone through our program, too, gone through development and manufacturing. She's actually manufactured already and sold pieces. We are so excited. You're now selling. It's so exciting. All right. Gail, you're an apparel entrepreneur member. So do you want to introduce your brand?
I'm in the middle of a change. I did ball gowns and things like that under Girlfriend Designs, which I love doing, but I've downsized and retired and moved on, and I'm in a very small space, and it takes lots of space to make ball gowns. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing a line of handbags. It's the brand is going to be called Enchanted Carpet Bags. I have a very whimsical style. And doing carpet bags, kind of think like Mary Poppins bags, and zip pouches, tote bags, purses, all kinds of things like that. And I've gotten my patterns down, and I've got my domain name. So this year I'm going to hit the floor, I should say, hit the floor running, hopefully get in a store. But anyway, that's what I'm doing.
Freudian slip. What's a Freudian slip? Get in the store running. Get in the store running.
And Gail was a tenant at Fabric when we first opened, so we're so excited she's still with us. I mean, you've been with us for like 10 years. Come on in, you guys. There's tons of chairs over here. Fill them up. Good to see you. We're just meeting some apparel entrepreneurs in the room right now. All right, so apparel entrepreneurs. Did we get through everybody? You have an apparel entrepreneur membership. Yeah, come on.
All right. Michael McGowan, the company's Pivot Product Designs. We're manufacturing sports towels, so you can like hang a pocket anywhere and in the gym and kind of have certain angles, and you can record yourself, watch it, and everything else. So I filled it. That's all I need, filled the needs. So yeah, I don't know. So I patented it, and we're working with it. And now I'm at the manufacturing part, and I feel like, thank God I met Angela so far. Everyone's been so great so far. So yeah. And the towel's called Media Towel. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, bye. Okay, Sam, are you an apparel entrepreneur member? Anybody else? Did I miss anybody who's an apparel entrepreneur member? Yay, that's right. Okay.
Just name and the business. Okay, so I am Rue, the founder and CEO of Defining You. It's faith and inspiration apparel, carrying a message, but looking good and feeling good while you're doing it and being a billboard. So that's what we're all about. And I love all of that. That's so good.
This is hers. This is an Angela Johnson original, man. I'll show you the tag in the back, man. It's like,
actually, hold on.
Seriously. It's a tag showing.
Okay. Do we have any others? Did I miss anybody? All right. Well, you can see there's a whole bunch of people in this room that really need some help in their, well, I mean, not absolutely need, but might need help with branding their business. There's a few that, this way. Nate, can you go? Okay. There's a few in this room that aren't officially apparel entrepreneurs yet, but they're going to be soon. So everybody in this room could probably use some of this help tonight. And what we're going to do is we're going to learn a lot about how to brand a business, how to communicate what it is that you're trying to say about your brand. And then you, as the apparel entrepreneur, are the face of that brand. And so how do you communicate who you are and how do those two things connect? And there's a lot of science behind this. And a lot of people try to do this themselves. I've noticed like throughout the years, people try to make their own logos. They try to just like guess, okay, I think I'm going to use this color, this font. I'm going to create my own website. And they don't have a plan and they don't have any like professional education in this area. And then they wonder why they're having a hard time actually selling their product or getting to the right person to buy their stuff. When I was talking about how hard it is in the industry and being, manufacturing overseas and the difference between being a small brand and then being a fast fashion brand. Well, when you're a small brand, you're making small quantities, your product is going to cost a lot. It just is because you're making 100 or 500. You're not making 10,000 or 100,000 or even 1 million like Walmart or somebody like that is making. So the difference in price is significant. And that means you have to reach somebody who's willing to pay that price for your item. And there are people out there who are willing to pay that price. You just have to figure out who they are. And they're willing to pay that price for different reasons. It might be because you're making something they can't find anywhere else. Hopefully that's a big part of it, but also because you're making it sustainably and responsibly and ethically. So people want to support that. And maybe it's because of who you are. Maybe somebody's following your journey and they just think you're a great artist and you're cool and they want to own a part of you, So that's what we're going to learn about today. And our guest is a very special person for me because I've known her for a long time. She's a very good friend. Theresa Nacho is what she normally goes by. I never call her Theresa. I just call her Nacho. But
Only the police or my doctor.
But Nacho has actually helped my businesses as well. So if you've seen my own brand or Label Hoard before Fabric, she had her hands in that as well. And I'm going to let her introduce everything that she's done. She's going to tell us her journey just like everybody does. And then tonight is very educational. We always do some education, but she is a teacher. So she's actually going to do a series of like things that you guys are going to be a part of to be able to help you brand your businesses. So I'm very excited. Let's give Nacho a round of applause. Okay, for the camera, should we be back over here? Are you better at that? Doesn't matter. Okay, so you want to wander a little bit?
Yeah. So as Angela mentioned before, can I borrow the clicker? I am a professor. I teach graphic design at Dominican University in Chicago, Illinois. The way most Chicagoans, it's not in Chicago, it's just outside of Chicago. But literally it's like there's Chicago and then but it'd be like saying like, I'm not in Phoenix, I'm in Tempe. It's like that. Did I lose it? No, it's back. Okay, sorry. So I've known Angela for about 10 years. No, longer, 15 years. I'm dating myself. So we've done a lot of great work together. Obviously, you can see I love her fashion. I love owning fellow artists' work. But speaking of fellow artists, does anyone actually know who Marie Forleo is?
Oh.
No? Oh, we do. Yeah, what's her little catchphrase? She's got a little cute one. Yeah, she does. So if you don't know who Marie Forleo is, she's actually like a former, like literally like Nike aerobics instructor. She's had 10,000. Yeah, she was a bartender. Now she's a motivational speaker and a business school like promoter, like an incubator kind of thing. So she has online education. She has a podcast. She has so many things. But my favorite thing that she always says, she's like, everything is figure-outable. She even has a book about it called that. Everything's figure-outable. So, but my favorite quote by her is this, which she does use a lot as a closing kind of sign-off, which is, there has never been another you. And you have a purpose. And that purpose, right, is your gift. And that is the one that you have to bring into the world. So I definitely resonate with that statement. I know you'll resonate with that statement, right? These walking billboards, but I want to modify it a little bit and I want to add to it the way that I tend to put my Nacho-ness on it. I'm going to say, so you do that and you got to tell everybody that story in the shortest way possible. Right. So, because again, we could be here for a long time, but we're in 2025. We know a lot of people have got the very short attention spans, right? They can't catch you. So speaking of shortest stories, there we go. Does anyone know the shortest, most tragic story ever told? Hint is Ernest Hemingway wrote it. So if you actually have the answer, I have a prize. No?
Can I guess?
Guess.
Has something to do with baby shoes never being worn.
Yes. Treat. Yay! Yeah. So the short, it's actually 6 words. It is for sale. Baby shoes never worn. So the reason why this is so powerful, right, is this, you have so many questions, don't you? This is world spinning. Like, wait, what? Who owns the shoes? Why are you selling the shoes? What happened to the baby? Like, why do you need money so bad that you're selling baby shoes? Like, there's so many different things that are happening here. But again, that shortest story, right, is telling us a complete atmosphere, giving us a setting, and asking us why. Right? So all I want to do is ask you questions, right? But Hemingway's not like that. But this is where I think that there's a lot of power if you can figure out your own personal, right, 6-word little, maybe it's, I don't want to be tragic though, right? We want in the stories, we want the happy story, right? So what, if anybody can, I know. This is the teacher in me. We got a pop quiz, y'all. Can anybody we'll take a minute. I'll give you 60 seconds just to ruminate on it, right? If I was to ask you, and there are prizes, right? Again, there's prizes in my pocket. If anybody can come up with a 6 to 8 word phrase or sentence or series of short sentences, right, that tell me who you are. Like if total elevator speech, can you tell me in 8 words or less who you are?
Can we offer a bigger prize?
We can offer a bigger prize if you can.
Okay, so I have a gift bag that's left over from the Label Hoard Fashion Show. Still has all the stuff in it. And so really think about it for a minute, especially if you're a brand. This is your chance to create your tagline.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's what so this is the first try. This is the first, if you think about it this way, it's a first pancake, right? It's a first tortilla. Sometimes they're a little burnt on one side, a little gooey on the other side, right? It's totally okay, right? So if you don't have it, it's okay because we're going to do it again.
Mine is I create for the other world where magic lives.
Create for the other world where magic lives. 7.
I've got one too. I've been using it for years. It's 5. Sweet decadence and grotesque elegance. So it's a little
That's maple syrup. Okay. Anyone shorter than 4? 5? 5.
I don't have one shorter than 5. I have a company under the name 99 overall.
99 overall? Okay. Ooh, 99 overall, highest version of yourself. Okay. All right, you guys you're all advanced for your ages. However old you are, today years old, you're all advanced for your ages, right? That's pretty because most of the time when I do this and I've asked other people, everyone just gives me like the jaws on the ground and the eyebrows are at the top of their heads and they're just like, sure.
Cool creatives
right?
in the room.
That's a cool creative. So let's put a pin in that, right? Because we'll do a vote at the end of like who has the best one. But if you don't, keep thinking. So if you don't have it and you're jealous of Sam and Gail and 99 over there, right? If you're like, I'm not like that. It's apples and oranges and pineapples and and cantaloupes. Everybody different, but we're all fruit. So it's okay, right? Just put a pin in it. So y'all got A's anyway, so it's good, right? But here's what I can tell you. I myself, right, even though this is my presentation, this is my whole thing, mine are still a work in progress. I do not have 4 It's like oh my gosh, y'all are even better than I am on this because I have 3 right now. I'm working on 3, trying to get it down to 1, and I want you guys to help me get to the final one. If you think of my 3, which ones are best? So of mine, the current one, right? That I do this all the time. Like, what's who are you? Basic introductions because I teach every semester. We have to do this. Like, who are you? What's your name? So yeah, my full name Theresa Maria Montiel-O'Donnell. She, her. AKA, but again, everybody the eyebrows are up here, the jaws are down there. Like, your name is what? It's like, or Nacho, right? Just call me Nacho. All my students do, my friends do, my spouse does, my in-laws do. Like, nobody knows me. Again, like I say, the only people that know me by Theresa, cops, doctors, and then that's something's wrong, right? Something's wrong if we're having that. So my first working 6-word example of this was that I'm a very lucky mixed race social justice creative. Right. So I'm very lucky because I found my human. He's here with me tonight. That's Patrick. That's the O'Donnell part of that long ass name. Right. I'm mixed race in that. Mixed race. Because I am. Literally half white and half indigenous. My father's a full-blooded Yaqui Indian, which is actually, Guadalupe, that direction. And then social justice. So I'll tell you more a little bit about that. So put a pin in that. But I have a social justice vision when it comes to my creativity. And when it comes to my creativity, I technically feel like I have 3 categories that I mainly swim in, which is fine art, print, graphic design, and specifically branding. So, but do you see how, you see where I'm going with this? You say these 6 or 7 or 5 words, right? But really what you're trying to do is get people to ask you more questions. Like, what do you mean you're mixed race? Or what do you mean you're a lucky person? Or what do you mean you're social justice creative? What does that mean, right? That's what a 6-word, right, short story should tell people. Not just like, I get to drop something on you, right? It intrigues, right, more questions, more dialogue. So this is my second one. Same thing. Theresa Maria Montiel-O'Donnell, she, her, profesora Nacho, right? So to my students, I tell them I am an overly idealistic. I've changed it from achieving to over idealistic, so they know, right? Design wrangling, academic rodeo clown.
You have both my parents' name in your book.
Oh my God.
Theresa Marie and my dad's Montiel-O'Donnell.
What? Oh my gosh. Are we related? Are we primos? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I share the name with your mother and your father. That's crazy. We're like, well, we'll take pictures and we'll send them to both of them. Yeah. So if you don't know the legend that is Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, right? She is the absolutely most over idealistic character in the lexicon of comic books, right? Her whole vision was about truth and love. She carries the lasso of truth. Right? She was all about social justice, right? And I'm like, this is my formative person, right? I was also a Linda version of Wonder Woman. I know that there's other ones, I get them, but she's the one. Don't talk to me, right? So, but we'll unpack this like one bit at a time. So let's talk. Yeah. So get that in there. Get to Nacho. So my third and final one.
Wait a minute. Can you talk about the academic rodeo clown part of that?
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah. So we'll break them down by each individual one. The design wrangling, you get it. I'm a graphic designer. The academic rodeo clown, we'll get there. The third one I'm working on, but I want you to put a pin in it because you're going to help me and tell me which one of those 3 was the best. So you're going to help me out. So there's prizes, maybe the big bag prize for that too. So yeah. So like I say, the first step of over idealistic, again, Diana Prince being that over idealistic character. Again, I watched this as reruns as a child over and over again. So it really, it had a high impact on me as a person. Another thing that had a high impact on me as a person is my racist grandpa. We all got one. So my racist grandpa definitely instilled an overachieving, over-idealistic vision of myself because he called me. This is my pet. Give you some context. What do I look like as a young girl, right? Oh no, one's cut off. I had long black hair, but I got this, very pale skin. Even my dad says, you got those little Chinese eyes. I got little squeaky eyes, right? Yellow China doll, right? So that was kind of like, he was like, yeah, you're my little babe. But I come from, in my my mother's side of the family, right? I'm very dark, and in my mother's side of the family, I'm very, light. It's just like, okay, right? So this in-betweenness, oh goodness, where'd it go? Came, kind of stuck me literally in between two worlds, right? So this racist grandpa called me his pet name for me, and in a very loving voice would be like, "Hey, you little half-breed, how are you?" Right? And I didn't take it as a negative. I didn't, right? But three things he also, there's four things he gave me, right? One, my little pet name, half-breed. Two, he would tell me my parents. So the marriage wasn't legal, according to him. So he tells me up until this 1979, and this is true, in the state of Arizona, if an indigenous person and a white person are to marry, that the product from that marriage would not be human. And their marriage would not be state recognized. So he's like, your marriage between your parents weren't legal. And I was like, yeah, Grandpa, they're divorced. What? Of course it's not legal. So I was just like, oh, what was that? And the only way out is education, right? So yeah, they're divorced. Whatever, bro. Not worried about it. Second thing, the product isn't human. So what I heard, I'm an X-Man? I'm Diana Prince? Like, what? So so up until about, 6 or 7 years old, I was very convinced I was psychic because I tried to fly and I tried to live hefty things and I tried to run faster than everybody else. And it turns out I couldn't do any of those things. But I thought really hard. I was like, I must be psychic because I could pick up on people's like, are you feeling hungry right now? You are? Oh, okay. I'm psychic. Okay. So it's right. You're like that about, it's like I'm totally psychic. So, but the last one that he always again would repeat, the same way, right? We came from a working class family. My father didn't graduate 6th grade. My mother didn't graduate 8th grade, and they were the highest achievers of their generation. So the whole idea that he was also instilling in me is the only way to get out was an education. So he was constantly talking about NAU, ASU, or U of A. So this is formative to my future, right? Of why I have all of these different things, right? So the other thing that comes out of half-breed, does everyone know the song? Oh yeah. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Any Cher fans in the house? If you don't know Cher, this is Cher. So Cher is an Armenian, right? But this is the song I heard. Oh no, there's no audio. I'll sing it for you. It's very outside. So the story is, my mama married a pure Cherokee, and my mama's family was ashamed of me. I was declared white by law, but to the white boy, I was the Indian squaw. Half-breed, all ever heard, half-breed. Yeah, so remember, picture back to young Nacho, right, with that long black hair. So when, Grandpa Amos would call me half-breed, I'll be like, yeah, half-breed, swinging that black hair, right? So I didn't take in any of it as negative. I took it all as something that added to the thing. And again, when I came up and graduated high school, I'm the first generation I'm the eldest of 13, I'm the first person to do this. And then beyond that, even amongst all my other cousins, I was the first to go to college. So I actually ended up going to 3 different colleges, of course, Arizona State. I shouldn't say, of course, that's where I ended up going. Put a pin in these ones. I also ended up going to MCC. And then later on, I got my master's in what they call community arts, which is like social justice and art education had a baby. You hear the callback? Social justice. So we'll get there. So put a pin in those, right? So let's talk about Arizona State first. So while I was at Arizona State, I ended up actually majoring. I told my mother I was majoring in art education, but I really didn't know what that meant. It just said art and education. I was like, yeah, I'll teach people art. But then I get into the classes. And again, I didn't have the language for it then, but I have the language for it now, is there was a lot of white saviordom in those classrooms. And I was having a lot of distance and static with the girls that were in my classrooms. And I was like, if these girls are my coworkers, I'm going to kill myself. So I'm going to drop that. So I never told my mother until literally I was skating across the stage to reach my diploma that I was an art major. So I actually graduated with an undergrad in painting and drawing with a focus in illustration. The other thing that I found when I was in college, I actually found the sport of roller derby. If you don't know what roller derby is, It is a full contact race on skates. It is like football, right? But instead of having a ball, I'm the ball and I'm in skates, right? I also joke that it's sports theater. It's like wrestling in that you create a persona, right? Can you guess what my skate name was? Nacho. Nacho Rodeo? Close, yeah. Nacho what?
They said Libre.
No, not Nacho Libre. Nacho Libre hadn't come out yet. This is 99, y'all. 99. Nacho cheese. Getting warmer. I was Nacho girlfriend. Because I'm here to hurt you.
I was.
Yeah. So I was what you would call a bruiser or a heel in wrestling, right? I was the bad girl. So I would literally I'd walk up to someone, we'd be lining up on the track and it was like, okay, we're about to blow. And sometimes they would give us the mic and I'd grab it and I'd be like, Jules, do you know what the floor tastes like? You're gonna find out. I'm looking for you. And then that's what starts off the game. We're just
Did I make these?
She did.
I thought I did.
This is what, again, full circle. This is how I meet Angela Johnson. So we have these crazy, we're freaking punk rock girls in roller skates, with fake personas and silly names, right? So we had to have the fashion to match. We just did. So, of course, we end up aligning with Angela Johnson. She ends up making the coffin. Well, I've been on 5 teams. She was the designer of the coffin dragger corsets. So I get fitted with all my other gal pals, right? Getting fitted for these, and they were all, of course, custom made for every individual girl. So we customize them with skeletons and things like that. But I was also on 5 other teams. I was also on a pirate team. I was on a nurse team. I was on a pinup girl team. I was on actually a Mad Max team. It was a lot of different things.
I made the costumes for that one too.
Yes. So Angela was very highly in the scene of alternative communities, and that whole, you definitely did kind of spark the whole idea of you can do your thing, whatever it is, however, weird, Benny fingers, right? And it can be your life, and you don't have to do the separate thing, right, from this artistic thing or this alternative, culture thing, right? They can be both. You can make your money doing this. So we got so big that we got onto billboards because we were at the Coliseum, the potato chip building where the Arizona State Fair is at now. We used to pack that thing out once a month. So we were kind of big. I always say I was locally famous. So there was my face, with actually, that's the costume. That's the costume that Angela made. And I'm all ready to fight. So I don't know. Yeah. So put a pin in that too. There's a lot of callbacks in this one. So next one, design wrangling. So I think it kind of speaks for itself by telling you I'm a graphic designer. So that's a pretty straightforward one. But to give you some context of Nacho, you got an art degree, you find roller derby. So how the heck do you become a graphic designer? Well, any artists in the room, painters, sculptors, yeah? You know the white box experience? Have you ever heard that phrase? Yeah. Anyway, white box experience?
That's usually in an asylum.
That's a different room. Those rolls are padded. Those balls are padded. These are just hard ones, yeah. So when they talk about the white box experience, what you're talking about is the gallery experience. Every gallery has got white walls, and then you put your artwork in the thing. So when I graduate, I go out there actually into First Fridays, right? Trying to sell my wares at these galleries, trying to sell it, right? And every other day that wasn't Friday on those First Fridays, guess where I was? In there trying to sell that stuff like a saleswoman. Now, have you ever been to an art gallery where somebody's literally like a car salesman trying to sell you something? It's no, that's not the culture, right? So I'd be like, sir, what color is your couch? Seriously, what color is your couch? It's blue. I got one. You want to come with me? I'll walk you to the artwork, right? So I'll show you the one that matches the blue couch. I got you. How much money do you want to spend? Do you want a large scale, small scale, right? This is what I'm doing because I don't know any better. I'm a first generation person, and it absolutely is showing up, right? So there's my little ribbon, my first gen ribbon, right? So I'm sure you've heard that phrase, faking it till you make it. That was me. So some lady comes in. I don't know. She look a lot like Jules. Jules will be my person, right? She walks in, asks me about, ask me what I'm doing here. What are you doing? I'm trying to trying to make some money, right? Trying to do some work, right? I'm trying to, what color is your couch? Do you need, do you have a nice office? Can I get something for you? You love yellow? I got yellow pieces. And her clap back to me was not, how much does it cost? She asked me, do you do commercial art? Does anyone know what that term means?
It's art for advertising.
Yeah, it's art for advertising. It also, or commercial products. Yeah, so you can sell it for packaging, you sell it for advertising, whatever, or even just literally to sell the rights to, right? So, and that word commercial is in the name, right? So it's for pay, right? But you know what Nacho's response was to that? Guess. No, but I see your vision. I mean, maybe alternative. Theresa would have said that. But what Nacho said, because again, faking it till I make it, I said, if it pays. If it pay, and she's looking at me like, you don't know words. So she hands me her business card and says, come to my office and we'll talk about it. And I'm like, okay. So again, I show up at her office. I show up with my portfolio. I'm ready to go. I got any artists, you got the big scale art, right? 18 by 24 portfolios. I'm flipping these pages, trying to show her this artwork. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying, in case you wanted to buy more. And she's like, no, commercial art. And she's pointing at the computer, right? She's like, commercial art. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know what these words mean. So by the end of the conversation, she's offering me a job. She's like, I like what you do. I think, what you have is very creative. I just need it to be digital so I can, I can do production. Because they're a tile and stone manufacturer. They wanted tile literal patterns. That's what they wanted. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I lied and I said, I'm really, really busy right now. Like, can you give me I'm between projects, I got to wrap a couple themes up. So if I'm starting your project, can you give me 3 weeks? And she's like, sure, yeah, whatever. So you know what I did? I walked my happy butt did I got it? No. Remember, I've already finished my undergrad at Arizona State. I'm a first gen, person. So again, the only way out of this is education. My next step, literally walking to MCC campus and asking the person at the desk, somebody's asking me to do commercial art and I don't know what that means. Like, what could what should I do? And she's like, just go to the bookstore. So I do the same thing. I walk over to the counter. I was like, hey, so this is happening. And she's like, here's a book on Illustrator. So I tried to teach myself from the textbook by myself over 3 weeks. How successful? Why are you laughing?
Been there, done that.
Right? It's like, who's done that? Who's watched videos trying to make it work, right? We've done it, right? We've done it, right? How successful was I? Not very. That's why I ended up actually getting a second degree in it, right? I ended up actually going back to that same person that was at that counter and said, okay, so that 3 weeks by myself with a textbook didn't work out. Can you sign me up for the next class? And they're like, yeah, we got you. And again, put a pin in the future self of the future career. There we go. So I ended up getting a digital arts degree at MCC. That first job was very kind to me, and they let me take classes while I learned on the job. So at this moment, this is where I feel that I changed out my paints and pencils for pixels. So if you're a digital artist, you like that. That's a good joke. Nobody laughed. It's a good joke. But yeah, so my my illustration skills directly translated into Adobe Illustrator. So as you can see, I got a lot of digital illustrations. It's kind of, I just can't not use it. And as you can see, there's a thing up on the upper left corner. You might recognize it. Where's the, right there. This way? That one? I don't know why the pointer's not working, but yeah. So I got to, again, this is the precipice to 20 long years of graphic design experience. So the first company that hires me is actually Monterey Tile. They're still there. They're on Mesa Drive and oh my gosh, I literally drove by it to try to remember the street name and now I forget. But it's Guadalupe and Mesa Drive. It's still there. I ended up graduating to a larger production company, which was Arizona Tile, which also again is still there. That's Hardy and Warner. And then after that, I started bouncing around because these are corporate in-house experiences, right? And I was just like, my punk rockness, right? I'm still doing me. I'm still trying to show up in that kind of way. And my tattoos, which I had, my finger tattoos, which were my wambulance, again, because Did I hurt you? You need an ambulance? I'll get you one, right? I literally put Band-Aids on my finger because it wasn't corporate, right? So I wasn't fitting in. And it was like, again, 2005, right? And names or something. So in 2005, what else happens in 2005, 2006? Old people my age. The crash, right? So the housing bubble pop. I'm working at Arizona Tile. Do you think anybody's putting $100,000 marble in their house right now? Not in foreclosure, no. So I ended up starting Nacho Momma's Designs. Why was it Nacho Momma's Designs? Because Theresa Maria Montiel, Designs was too long and nobody could say my name. They still can't say my name. If I say my name's, Theresa or Theresa, they'd be like, Lisa? Tracy? Like, I get that at the doctor's office all the time. It's like, yeah, but if I say Nacho, everybody remembers. The other thing that's also happening is that I have this huge network, right? So I tell people I have, this want and desire, right, to move into this. So a lot of people are like, okay, put a pin in that. But that ends up being the bridge, the freelance bridge that gets me into an ad agency. And I end up working in ad agencies for another decade. But the whole time I was always keeping my one foot, right? Doing freelance for a lot of different folks. So Nacho Momma's Designs evolve, there's multiple iterations. If you want to see the history of the logo, I can show it to you. It's kind of embarrassing. It's like showing my underwear, but I'll do it. But this is the latest, greatest iteration, right? And through that experience, I got to work with these are just some of the companies I got to work for. So you might recognize Angela Johnson's Designs, Arizona Roller Derby, Arizona Derby Dames, Arizona Tile, Phoenix Theater. Phoenix Theater was fun. Fascinations. Oh, we can talk about that. Yes. That's actually seriously to this day my favorite client I've ever worked for. I got to work for Ronald McDonald's house. I got to work for Rio Salado Foundation. I got to make the label Horde font logo. I got to work for a bunch of different corporations, right? But truly, Fascinations was actually my favorite. And again, if you want to talk about that, it's not my presentation, but I'll totally tell you that story if you know what Fascinations is. And so we'll jump to it. So where did I get all of these connections? How did I get to work with all these different companies? Again, I told my community. I told my friends. And I know, do you have friends? Do you have friends? Do you have friends? Family, friends, people beyond this room? Yeah, right? Tell them what you're doing. Tell them you want to be hired. Tell them what your favorite thing to do is, because they're great and they probably already bought from you, right, Sam? They bought from you. Angela's got you. Well, all of your family are all decked out in it. I know Ryan's got his, Sarkis got his, his blazer. Like, Tallulah's got her skirt. She's ready, right? And it's like, but then there's other people, right? They're walking around with that stuff too. So but that was the part. But the only way that people knew me, they didn't know Theresa. They knew Nacho. So that's where the business name also kind of got solidified. So the funny part is this is why I'm still Nacho to this day, is that the only way people knew me was through Nacho as Nacho Momma's Designs, right? So then when I'm going to my interviews, they're like, who's Theresa? They're looking around. They're like, Nacho's here, but I was supposed to have an interview with Theresa. I'm like, that's me. That's my legal name. And they're like, okay, cool. But all to tell you, utilize your network. Don't be afraid to tell your people, I want to sell my stuff. You got people, you got friends, or I want to be hired for something, or I want to be known for my, for my new handbags, whatever it is. Tell them what you want. It's real fun. Sometimes that works out. Also put a pin in that.
There's a lot of pins
There's
here.
a lot of pins. So now we're into the activity part of the section. So has anybody ever went to art school, took a design class? 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple of you? Art classes. Yeah, you don't have to. Critiques, right? We know if you've never been a part of an art class, there are things called critiques, right? So you're here to be critical, right? I know we just met each other. Maybe some of you, if I told you, can you critique my logo? Would anybody have feedback for me? Like actual critical critique? No, maybe a little bit. Yeah. So the blue and the red, maybe if you're colorblind, there could be some issues with that. Sure. Anybody else? It's totally fine. I asked that on purpose because when I do, no, too much. Another pin. So many pins. Because sewing pins. Sewing pins. So, if you haven't taken an official design class, or you haven't taken an official art class, or you don't have an art degree, it's okay. What I've learned through my community arts experience is that there is a very easy framework, even if you're not an artist, how to give people critique, right, when you're looking at art or you're looking at design. And the framework that I like to use, and it's very simple, it's very easy to remember: I see, I think, and I wonder. So it's kind of like a compliment sandwich. So you can see, I see that you use, blue and red. I think that might be problematic for people who might be colorblind. I wonder what colors you could use to change that, so to make sure that everyone feels included. Do you see how that works? Right? So again, that's a lot to put together, right? But we can do it one step at a time with each other. And I have prizes for those who answer, right? So anybody got ICs? It can be colors, it can be shapes, it can be font names if you're that fancy. I don't care. But the faster you answer, the faster the candy goes, right? Neo.
Like, well, for me, it's like you already have like the blue overall pants, and then you have like the blue outline in the background, so it just kind of blends in very closely because the colors are very, very identical. That it just looks like it was just put on there with a stencil like around the outline.
Yeah, so a graffiti style stencil with the blue overalls, similar to some other people that are dressed tonight. Other observations, just ICs.
I see this black mark on her cheek that's supposed to be blush, and I'm wondering why didn't we tie it into the red?
Oh, so the blush on the cheek, but it's black. Why?
I think if you're leaning into your diversiveness, that's a lot of white.
Oh, I never thought of that. Damn, that's heavy. So the statement was, you're mixed race, but why are you white? Why it's got to be white? That's a good question. Never thought of that. Oh my gosh, Ryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say you mailed it in. Monotone.
Yeah, yeah.
You must have finished this right before it was due.
I finished it right before it was due. Yep, it's so lazy. So lazy. Yes.
But I still like it.
I see the strength of her.
Strength. Seeing strength. Okay.
I think with what you shared about you personally and the connection to Wonder Woman, I wonder how you could add in some additional strong elements with just some of the other colors.
Right. Yeah, I'm like, the Wonder Woman and the so there's definitely a look of strength, right? The question is with the nod to Wonder Woman, why we don't see more of that. So yeah, y'all are calling me out. Like, where's your Wonder Woman? Where's your mixed raceness? Like, yeah, it is Rosie.
Wait, that's Wonder Woman too?
Well, the nod previously in the presentation that I was like, I'm Diana Prince, Wonder Woman. Yeah, why is there not more Wonder? Yeah, no, there's definitely a nod to Rosie the Riveter. Yeah.
You're also layers of well-known, like something.
Yes.
So it's almost like patronizing somebody else's.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, I'm definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I technically am. I am patronizing someone else's icon. I am building on the lexicon or the cultural reference of Rosie the Riveter, right? So yes, right. The yellow is there, right? With the blue and the red, we'd like, and I can see a yellow background, right? Ding, right? So building on the social capital for sure, right?
Have one.
Yeah,
I see a lot of detail, and I wonder if it's going to translate in like a smaller version of it, maybe an embroidery or something like that.
Oh, I've never embroidered. Well, no,
so
never
a lot of
embroidered
times that's how I look at these things, because that happens in fashion, you know. So maybe this would be never gone as a little emblem on something, but that's always a thing that everybody has to worry about.
Depending if you are a fashion brand or you're wanting to put this on things where like embroidered things onto the product, transability, right, for how you've built or how you've simplified the icon, right, really comes important, especially if you're doing layers of thread, and especially those white dots on a red scarf. Oh, that would be so hard on an embroidery machine. Yeah. What about think? What do I think? Oh no, you got other one?
As I said, all colors are different. Usually I feel like a brand's like recognizable by their font. So
Yes.
word,
Yes. Yeah. So we got a trifecta of fonts. And yes, these are my branded fonts. The recognition of fonts, right? Is something that, again, a lot of people I know people always tell me that, like the Nacho or the word Nacho, they're like, it's people see it someplace else. They're like, somebody stole your Nacho font. I was like, no, but I appreciate that you think that, right? So greatest application of typography into brands, Coca-Cola. We don't even need to see the full word. We can just see that stroke and we're like, red, white, stroke. I know exactly what this is, right? So absolutely the typography. Thinking or wondering?
Thinking and wondering. So just when I see this, I also see the acronym of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about you with tattoos, and I wonder if NMD could be a tattoo. That way, whether it's the words listed out, but also just almost like a branding within.
Ooh, that's what you would call a logo system. So Google is a perfect example of a logo system, right? We have the full word Google, but there's all those different sub icons that we just automatically recognize. And even all we need is the G. We don't need the full word, just see that G.
Well, I wondered, because I wondered this about my own brand, Girlfriend Designs.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really say what I do. So that...
You were just being profound. It's like the word designs is in it. The word design is in it. It's true. Like, yeah, is what you do in the name, or is there some kind of nod to it, right? Or is it redundant? It depends on the brand. Like, so Angela Johnson Designs. It's like, do we need it? Do we not? Like, or again, it depending, right? How you want to frame it. Yeah.
When you're first starting out and stuff.
Right. It's helpful. It's helpful. Sure.
I kind of run into that problem. That's why I really changing carpet bags.
Bags. Yeah. The bags and the word. Do you have one?
So I would say I see two full references
Mm-hmm.
to being a female or being a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think that if you're trying to go for a diverse audience, it makes me wonder if you would be isolating or maybe pushing away a male or a non-binary audience. So that might be something to consider.
That's interesting. Yeah. So my strong femme identifying, strong feminist icon might deter some men or some non-binary folks, right? So yeah, right. So congratulations. If you've never been in a critique, you just did it, right? I didn't die. So the same thing will happen to you. When people give you feedback, this is a part of the process, right? Giving me like, why I gotta be white? I'm like, oh my God. I cannot. I'm like, why does it have to be white? I don't know.
I'm curious, is that your current one right now?
Yeah.
You said you're walking through it.
Yeah, I'm walking through it. So like ever so often, I put this through the ringer with my own students and like.
I like it. I wouldn't have cut out some of the blue to her hair streak because you always have to do the inner back.
That's true.
Even I like the paint of the spray paint.
Uh-huh.
Take a little bit of red, put it on her lips, and do that spray paint and slip it up a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah. So bringing the red into the lips, bringing the blue into the hair. Cause yes, I do always have fantasy color and yes, it always changes. So, yeah. So like, yeah, there's been times where that's where I could show you, and maybe I should have included that in because I did have it originally. Here was the evolution. It's changed like no joke, like 10 times. So that's the other one too. Permission. Everyone, if you want a permission slip, I will write you one, or I can text it to you or email it to you, whatever delivery you want, or I can just tell you to your face, grab you by both shoulders and say, you have permission. You have permission to change your brand, right? Brands evolve, things change, right? Even if you didn't make an embroidered patch and you got it in the thing, it's like, cool. Well, that was in 1999. That's the 1999 brand you're in, right? Right. This is the revamp 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, right? These are all fine, right? Again, how many corporate companies do we know who have evolved over time? Starbucks evolved. Pepsi's evolved. There's, Apple evolved. Has anybody ever seen the first Apple logo? That thing was, dense. It was dense. Newton's apple tree and just, right? You're like, but if you're as old as, well, some of us in the room, you remember when it was a rainbow, it was like, no, that was me. That was like my first, like, I love this little, I don't know what it's called, but I just love this little picture, right? It was like, yeah. So again, don't be afraid. Cause again, this feedback, you have no idea. I'll come back in a year and I'll show you, like, it'll change.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah, put a pin in it.
It's Mercury. They just rebranded their.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Suns have rebranded. The Mercury's rebranded. Like, again, these are things that evolve. People want to see change, right? There are definitely sometimes like companies and brands that never change, and if that's your deal, love it, do it, cool.
Is there a kind of not hard set rule, but a rule of like how many colors to use?
Yes.
Is that like I like yellow because the primary colors, but 3 might be too much of a brand.
See, you're advanced for your age. You're advanced. See, she's jumping ahead. She's all like, is there only 3 colors? Why is there only 3 colors? She's like, how many colors can I have in my logo? Like, we're getting there. Oh, you're reading my mind. That's great. So yeah. So to give you a quick breakdown of the things that we talked about typography, we've talked about color, we've talked about the different representations, right? So again, when thinking about your own brand, right, I'm here to tell you, I don't know if you've ever talked badly about a font. I know you've said that at a menu or something, or just like, this font is ugly, I can't read it. But guess what? Those fonts can hear you and they have emotions. So being very careful about the font that you use to coordinate to the community, to the culture, to the identity, to the message, these are all important, right? It is a tool in the toolkit of design, right? They're not to be left out to say like, I'm just gonna put Helvetica on it. Maybe, right? Depending, because here's what's fun too. Guess how many zeros do you think is behind the number of brands that use Helvetica? Like just Helvetica.
42.
42 zeros?
I don't know. I was thinking about that. Think about life.
Other guesses? How is it 10? Is it 100? Is it thousands? Is it millions? Millions, yeah. And some of the biggest ones Jeep, Braun, American Apparel. Right? They all use Helvetica. So again, if you're thinking, I want to be in line with those kinds of people, I want cleanliness, I want legibility, right? Great, go with it if that's what you want to do, right? But there might be another, right, thing, right, that you want to use depending on the atmosphere of what you want to use, right? So again, I have 3 different fonts. That's on purpose, right? Because I do kind of feel like in a lot of ways, like I have my feet in all different kinds of world. I got the corporate world, I got the education world, I got the, the social justice world. Like they're kind of like all over the place, right? So it's just like, yeah, I need to represent that, right? So the other thing that have feelings, colors got feelings. Colors emote feelings, right? So my fashion folks, I know you know how to put some outfits together, right? So like how you feel, right? The colors you put on, right, are coordinating, right? If you're wearing something bright, that gives you, people energy, people are engaged. They can see you across the room, right? But when it comes to a brand, this connects because this is the science, right? This is the color psychology, right? So if you got a BS in design, that's literally what they call it. It's a Bachelor of Science. It's not bullshit. It's BS in design. This is the science, right? So color psychology, and that blue is calming and red has energy and gives it, boldness and excitement, while, yellow is optimistic, right? And again, think of all your major brands, right? And how they use color. They tend to, like you were saying, 3 or less. Some of them only use 1. Unless you're the outside people, NBC, Google, Microsoft, eBay, they might use more, but again, those are rarer. But again, when you think about those people, they're trying to set themselves apart by using more colors, right? So this might be that question of asking yourself, saying, okay, how many emotions do I want people to feel when they look at my logo? Could be 2, could be 3, right? Or could be 1.
You know what I learned? Yellow helps things sell better. And so when people paint their houses yellow, they sell quicker. And then red makes you hungry. Yes. It speeds up your metabolism. So if you think about how many fast food restaurants use red and yellow, there's science behind all of that.
No, McDonald's is absolutely, exactly. It's red and yellow for a reason, right? Wendy's, why she got red hair? Because I'm hungry, right? Fun facts, piggybacking off of that. Why are banks always blue? So once you feel trustworthy with their money, right? Anything that's organic or something that's tied to nature or agriculture, most often green. Anything that's around tech tends to be silver, right? Anything that's about rebellion or breaking some kind of mold tends to be orange, right? So yeah, so all of these things are not accidental, right? Again, however you choose those singular adjectives of this is the way I want people to feel, this might be your first step. If it's not the font, it could be the color, right? So whatever that emotion is, what do I want people to feel after they walk away with my product? I want them to feel the color might be the first one, or it might be the font. So to bring it all back around. So this is mine, right? So this is for me, for my brand. I like to name my colors because I want to make them mine. But these are my primary colors. When it comes to building a brand, yes, you should kind of tend to stay in a kind of a 2-color or 3-color kind of palette. I'm breaking
our font too for fabric.
Yeah. So this is where it gets fun, right? So yeah. So Better Phoenix is a paid for font. I paid $26 for it, however long ago. I use it a lot. But again, think about $26 divided by 20 years. I'm now getting down to $2.60 a year. That's pretty good, right? For a good investment, right? The Mac font was a free download, but Montserrat is a Google font. That's an open source font that just anybody can use. And yes, it is the cleanest non-Helvetica font that there is. So again, legibility, right? So again, that touches to my corporate people, to my punk rock people, and to my artsy people, right? I'm bouncing between 3 worlds, right? Again, from a color psychology standpoint, I want people to feel calm and trustworthy with me, to know that when they hire me, that I'm going to do a great job, right? And because a lot of people are like, oh, I've never hired a graphic designer. Like, why would I do that when I can just, well, especially now, right? I can just go on AI. I can just have, Dolly do something for me. It's like, well, I'm going to do something better, right? I'm going to make you what you need it to be. Anybody can make a logo. I promise. All of you, if you've never made a logo, you can, right? You can totally do it. Is it appropriate for the brand in which you're trying to make? I don't know yet. We haven't seen it yet. But what I do want people to do is to feel activated. I want them to feel strong. And the reason why I picked red was actually the Victory red lipstick from Rosie the Riveter, right? Tying back to that feminist icon, right? I have a strong, I was raised by a single mom, raised by nothing but aunties, right? So that ladiness in me, that's just me. So yeah, so like, do I turn some dudes off sometimes? Probably, right? Am I mad about it? No. Yeah. But that does come up, right? So because some people are like, well, what if people don't like you? I'm like, good. Not everybody will, right? So blacks and grays, even white, those are neutrals and technically don't count towards your color palette. I just put them here because I gave them all like silly names, right? And I use the Post-it yellow, again, as a 1% accent color. So if this does it well, and again, for this screen, you kind of lose it there at the bottom. So to do it again, this is what you're looking at. So any brand really should only have 3 technical colors, right? You could have less, but that's pretty, but you always need things. Even Coca-Cola has more, right? But 60% of yours should be 1 color dominant. If you notice, right? My candies are even blue. That's the 60%, right? The 15%, right, could be split into 2 different colors. So 30% total, right? So I put it in that black and gray because, again, notice in my logo, even the accents, my lips, my cheeks, all of that, I only want 10%. So I can't put red in everything because then it becomes the dominant and it's too much. It's overwhelming, especially for those folks that maybe have some color issues, right? I just want the accent. The thing I want people to pay attention to is the scarf. The red scarf nods to the Rosie the Riveter. So that's why we use the 9% accent. And then ever so often, you need like one little highlight thing. That's where you can bring in that 1%, right? So if that's something that you're just like, Nacho, that's a lot of numbers, that's a lot of words, and I'm in fashion, what are you talking about? It's another way to look at it. Your outfits are the same thing, right? How you build a composition in fashion is the same thing, right? So outfits being, especially men's, I feel like menswear is very this, right? There's always a dominant color. There's always an accent color, and there's always a pop when it comes to a suit, right? So it's either the kerchief or the tie, right? So how are you using these things, right, to catch people's eye? Or how are you using these colors to fall, right, in line with a culture, or a subculture, right? Because if we're wearing a gray suit or a navy blue suit, where are we going? A wedding. Or, London. Oh, we're getting fancy. I was just thinking work, going to work. Yeah, we're going to work, right? But if I took, the idea of a brighter colored suit, like what if it's a green suit? Like again, that changes. Where are you going? Are you going to a funeral? No. You going to a job? Depends on the shade of green. But you see my vision, right? So the whole thing of like, are you trying to go more corporate or are you trying to go more alternative? And again, like, as you see from me, right? Like I tend to lean towards, right, the more alternative. So like I could, if you want to go into that more genre kind of experience, and again, that's okay if you turn some people off. It's okay if you look at my stuff and say, that's not for me, Nacho. And I was like, okay, that's fine, right? We can still be friends. I'll still like you, right?
Can I ask a question to the audience?
Yeah.
I'm going to give away one of your candies.
Do it.
Can anybody tell me what the pop of color or just the colors that fabric uses?
Ooh.
Oh, your hand went up first.
There's 4.
Like a lime apple green.
Yes, good job. Okay, we did our
all
job.
right there. It's all right
Somebody
there.
remembered.
Yeah. We even too. Yeah. The obviously the fabric is a stylized form of Montserrat, and then, the sub ones. It's like they're all very clean, very legible. But I'm sure that apple green always like, is that fabric? Is that fabric?
Yeah, that's like first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
That's your signature.
Yeah. Good. So it's something that if you wanted to, and I do, or I used to, especially when I was freelancing, I would always wear a blue outfit with a red accent. Sometimes it literally would be that red scarf. I never went full like that
Leave
to
it
a
to
business.
me to go full boogie.
I was like, you're channeling me. And then she's like, well, you're channeling me. And I was like, that's fair. Right. So we swapped bodies. We got a Freaky Friday. So, and again, if you're like Nacho, color psychology too far, typography choices, again, too far. The first thing, again, if you're at the absolute, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start, I don't know how to create this vision for myself, you can literally start a vision board. Or the fancy word in graphic design language, this is a mood board. Or if you're a web designer, this is a style board or a style tile, right? But this is something that you do, right, within a fashion brand as well, right? To say, like, what is the vibe, right? Because who doesn't have, anybody got Pinterest? Who doesn't have Pinterest? Because they were like, all the hands was like, who doesn't have Pinterest? We know that exists, right? So that's ultimately what it is. Pinterest is a digital form of mood boarding, right? You put these boards together through theme. That's the vision, right? The cool part is that if you put a message behind it, all of a sudden, then it's a mood or a vision board, right? It goes beyond a mood of like, atmosphere. It's like, no, this is mission, this is vision, this is goals, right? So if you know me, then all of this makes sense, right? This is, we got our Wonder Woman, we've got our Adelitas, we've got our Russian constructivism, we've got Frida Kahlo, we've got nods towards my favorite artists like John Waters and Andy Warhol. There's so many things in there, right? So the whole thing of like, I don't have to answer one question. I get to curate and answer all of them at the same time, right? And as you know, right, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? And if you can't think of the word of like, how do I want people to feel when I look with my brand jewels? Like, what is the word? Do you know one word? What do they want them to feel?
For your brand?
No, for you.
Oh, for me? So,
okay. So that's 2 words. You cheated. But see, right? But if we're going to do that, right? It's like, I don't have one word. It's like, right? We can collect, right? These images that would follow into that would help you come to those words, right? So if I don't have it on deck right here in my pocket, I was going to grab it and it was going to be so elegant, but it wasn't. If I don't have those 1, 2 words, right? Then I can build towards it, right? Or you can workshop this with other people. So if we were to do the same thing, I see, I think, I wonder, that would bring out those beautiful adjectives and all of these wonderful points that you guys have highlighted in me, right? Of the things that make up my brand, right? So if you're doing this with your people, do it with people you know, do it with people you don't know. Sometimes that's even better, right? You gave, so many of you guys, right? Like, I never thought of my whiteness. Oh my God. It's Jesus, that paper. It's the paper. Before we do that, let's back up. Questions about color or fonts. Questions about fonts and emotions, typography choices.
I do.
Yeah.
So I always heard that you need like a sans serif font, and then you need like something opposite of that, maybe some cursive thing with serifs or something like that. Is that the case? You need sort of these balance of extreme differences, or do you always have to have that?
So the fancy word for that is juxtaposition. When you put things that are opposite together, they magnify each other, right? Or complementary, right? So think my metaphor is always it's a peanut butter and chocolate kind of thing. Like peanut butter is great, chocolate is great. Peanut butter and chocolate is even better, right? So the same thing is true of colors, right? So colors, right? If we have a red and especially at this moment in time, right? We put a green with it. We automatically have a social reference for it being Christmas, but it also, right, is in our stop signs, right? And our stop lights, right? So that because the contrast is so different, even if we do have color issues, right, we can see the difference in shade, right? So the same thing would be true when it comes to typography. If I put a serif, which is a font like fabrics, right? It has no ligatures or feet that extend off of the letter form, right? And put it next to something that does have a lot of texture or handwritten. So the perfect one is the banner, right? The fabric collection, right? Collection is in a hand scripted font, which is in opposition.
Havana Sunset, I believe.
Yeah. If you write that down. But in opposite, again, in juxtaposition, right? They're opposites, right? The very clean, the very legible. I could see that probably for 600 feet, right? I can see fabric from a very large distance. Collection, if I take my glasses, I'm like, I don't know what this is, right? So that eye test, right? But that opposition catches my eye of just like something's different, right? Our human eyes are trained for difference, right? That something is not quite like the other, right? So you can, again, like mine, I have 3, so I'm constantly trying to make you shift and move, right? That's the vision of that. So same thing. I'm technically kind of breaking a little bit of rules by having 3 fonts. 2 fonts is, usually pretty good. But yeah, having, again, what is that peanut butter and chocolate combination so that you can get people to say like, what was that?
And then also just the weight of the font. So if it's a bold version or not can kind of count as another font in a way, right?
For sure. So if you do a heavy, right? So that's something that comes up a lot. Legibility. So if you do a lightweight font, so same thing with fabric, for instance, the subtitles, right, under fabric tend to be in a lighter weight, which fabric is a very heavy, chunky, not body shaming, but we've got girth, right? It's like you work out, fabric, you work out. So that whole, again, that's an opposition, right? So the same thing, big brother, little brother, right? Daddy bear, baby bear, right? That those opposites also create visual interest, right? So you can
leads you through what you're looking at first,
right? And even too, that weight and scale, that change also catches my eye. So fabric being very big, and then subheader being smaller. So then it's like, what do I read first? Fabric. What do I read second? The thing that's below it, whatever it even is, right? Because again, scale and weight catches our eye first. So add color to that and then forget about it, right? So other questions about typography? And there doesn't have to be. It's a whole class. It's a whole discipline. If you ever wanted, you can take classes in typography. It's a whole discipline. Color theory. I feel like this one's, the easiest, lowest hanging fruit for a lot of folks. They're like, yeah, I get it. Blue makes me feel calm. Duh, right? Red makes me feel energized or maybe hungry. If you're with Angela, she's like...
It physically changes you too. Yeah. So like red makes your heart beat faster, your blood pressure go up. Blue is the opposite of that. Yeah. They've even done tests where children take, or experiments where children take tests in blue rooms and they score higher.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Even the tint. So there's tint and shade, right? So the tint of something actually takes it to a lighter, right? And shade, right? Pulling it to the more saturated, right? So if we have a light tinted blue, right? We're even more calm. So think about the baby nursery, right? We're back to baby bear. Baby bear, get a light blue room. Daddy bear, get a navy blue room, right? That's the shade of it, right? So then we, again, there too, even if we take that juxtaposition of the color, we can stay in one, the fancy word, monochromatic, so singular color. You can do a spectrum even within one color and create opposition, right? By just changing the tint or the shade. So everybody, we want, the fancy word, we want composition. We want multiple things to look at. So contrast gives us that, a place for our eyes to bounce around. No? Okay.
Here, I'm going to tell you how we're doing on time.
So yeah. What about color scale? Again, doesn't have to be a question. It's just there. It's a fun one. How it coordinates to outfits. Anyone disagree? Fashion people, correct me. No? All my fashion people are not shaking their heads no. Okay. What about mood boards or style tiles? Everybody ever created one? Yeah. If you were in the 90s with Oprah, you definitely made a style board or a vision board, right? You're just like, I didn't call it that. I called it something else. So to get back to that question of like, what about the academic rodeo clown? This is the academic part of my rodeo clownness. So I got, like I said, a master's degree in community arts. So this all happened because of a Scrum meeting. So remember back, I used to work in corporate graphic design. I went to ad agency, that whole kind of thing. This time I'd left ad agencies to go to corporate design. And in this corporation, which is here, it had an international headquarters in Chandler. And every day we started our days standing up for a quick 15-minute meeting. And if you've ever worked in corporate, this is what they call a scrum, which is where you stand in a circle. And for the first 15 minutes, essentially, you're just telling people what's wrong or what you got to do today. So it's a way to like quickly say like, Sam, what are you doing today? What do you need help with? What's going on? Right. And you can answer me, be like, what are you working on today, Sam? Sorry, you're the, yeah. It was like doing stuff. Okay. Do you need help with that? Yes, no. It's like, okay. So in this Scrum meeting, sometimes they'll also do what they call an icebreaker, right? To get everybody kind of started. It's not, 8 or 9 in the morning. Sometimes people don't want to talk. Like Sam's like, I ain't got my coffee yet. I'm not there yet. So the kickoff is, what would you do with $1 million? Thankfully, the circle went that way. And after a couple of questions, it's all these corporate, responses like, oh, I don't get Google certified, or I'd expand our, our corporate base, or, I'd get a house that's closer to the office so I can walk to work. And I'm just like, So I'm sure I could hear my eyeballs hitting the back of my skull. Nobody else could, thankfully. But when it came back to me, they asked me, what about you, Nacho? What would you do? And I'm like, I go back to school and become an art teacher. Needle scratch. Just like, if you want to take corporate life and just like absolutely be like, what? It's like, tell them do something besides work in corporate. So I say that, and they're just like, and my boss, not missing a beat, she just looks at me, she's like, you don't need $1 million to do that. I was like, you're right. So started looking at different different programs. Turns out, so I was like, well, if I got an undergrad in design and art, so I might as well get a master's in that, right? If I want to teach art, then I got to do art education again, which I was already like, right? So remember back to that white savior doing right again. I didn't have the language back then. But in that search, I found out that there's actually a subsect of art education that has a social justice vision, and they call this community art. So once I started looking for master's degrees in community art, there's only 3. Savannah School for the Arts, Moore College in Philadelphia, and Maryland Institute College of Art. So I applied. Spoilers, I got in. Well, I applied to all 3, but Micah called me on the phone, and maybe 3 days after I finished my application was just like, so when are you coming? When can we make this work? Can we give you a scholarship to make you pick us instead of the other 3 that you're looking at? And I'm just like, how do you know this? Fun facts. If you apply to grad school, they actually can see everybody else you're applying to. So that's how they knew. So they were like, no, come here. We want you. So it's great. So that social justice vision in my program was kind of the the incubus, right, of what some people call the ikigai. There's actually books on this if you'd like to read on it. It's just, that's what it's called, just ikigai. And what it's talking about is the intersection between 4 parts of your life, which are things that you get paid for. We live in a capitalist system. We can't get away from it. Hooray. Things that you're good at. You all have talents. You all have skills, right? But things that and I think a lot of people are in this room, the love and passion for the thing that you do. What if you got those 3 all together? That sounds like a good sandwich, right? But what if you could then add the additional just punctuation of it also does something good for the world? If you can do all 4 of those things, that's what you call ikigai. So all of a sudden I was like, well, that's what I want to do. I want to learn how to do that, right? So to me, what I learned through this is that for Nacho Mama's Designs, that's teaching design. So that was my little magic moment. I was like, oh, okay, I found it. Right? So again, we got through Arizona State. We got through MCC. And now Maryland Institute College of Art. Turns out it's really expensive. I don't know. I definitely am happy and glad that I went, but I don't know if I would recommend it for everybody. If anybody wants to go to master's program, talk to me because I will talk to you about alternatives of not how to take out 6 figures in student loans. So how did I get there? Again, I made this decision in June of 2017. Classes started August. So I sold in everything that I owned in an indoor yard sale because June in Arizona, you don't do a yard sale outside. And I sold everything I owned, and I did a cross-country road trip, and I got myself to Maryland Institute College of Art, and I ended up becoming an AmeriCorps person, which is like the Peace Corps, but for the United States. So I started an after-school program that was all about doing what we're doing here, a makerspace, right? So the makerspace that I got to work in was part fashion, part wood shop, part metal shop, part 3D printing farm, part electronics lab, part graphic design lab, and also held office spaces. So my vision, after doing a bunch of research within the community, I literally went, if you're not from Baltimore, I was going door to door in Baltimore City. It might as well say I was doing this in South Phoenix, going knocking on door to door, asking people like, what does your community need? And they said, we need jobs for our young people so we can keep them out of the streets so that they don't fall into the way we call it, alternative economies, right? So I started this program. I got 3 cohorts of 16 children certified in all 8 studios. They all have, with the vision of entrepreneurship. Of those 40 students, 10 of them started businesses. And now, oh my gosh, 7 years later, 5 of them are still working, doing that thing. So I have a little mini documentary on it if you'd like to watch it. So the other thing that happens when I was in Baltimore, I also, an accident, found my person. So I met Micah. He's at Johns Hopkins because he's fancy. But when I met him, he told me, I'm working on a social justice missioned art program. And he tells me, oh yeah, I'm working in philosophy on the dog whistling of the first Trump administration and how it institutionalized white supremacy. And that might sound like really a lot to y'all, but I'm like, all that did was just like tink, 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 tink. Tell me more. What? So yeah. So we found each other. I brought him home. I immediately took him to the Grand Canyon and scared the shit out of him as I stepped over the edge and sat on the edge, right? So while I was at, so that's January. February or March, I got a job offer. Again, that's what big art schools will do for you. They get you into networks. So the beautiful thing that you have here and the most amazing thing I think about Fabric is that Fabric is doing this for free. I paid 6 figures for mine, right? I paid 6 figures to get into a network that literally cherry picked me to get to do the thing I wanted to do. So it's March. Most people don't have a job before they graduate. I did. I'm getting an offer at UArts, which is essentially like, remember the Art Institute? Is that, oh my God. It was like the Art Institute, but like on steroids, right? In Philadelphia. So very fancy art school. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to UArts. Patrick, you want to come with me? He's like, Philly sounds cool. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So he graduates with his PhD in philosophy. I graduate with my master's in community arts. But then, as fate would have it, he gets a job offer in Oakton Community College. Guess where Oakton isn't? It's not in Philly. It's in Chicago. So this boy literally put a ring on it. He's like, no, before you go away. So he proposed and said, I want to make sure that we're going to keep this together. So we decided to go long distance, but we set our wedding date for 10/10/2020 on the day when he gave me the ring. What timeline does that overlap with? So yeah, a year and a half later, our lives were very different, right? So, but we decided, right, as a couple, that we still wanted to hold on to this whole date because it was important to us for a number of reasons. But the way that I took it as an opportunity to use design as a part of social change, right? I wanted to institutionalize and normalize masking. I wanted to, institutionalize and normalize social distancing because my vision, or our vision, right, was for, if we're going to have this wedding, we're not going to be a super spreader. We're not going to make the news. So I made a whole entire social media campaign that was all about advertising to people about how we're going to do this and how we're going to act right. And that ultimately, right, we did. And fun facts, we had it at Tempe Mission Palms for a quarter of the price because, there was nothing going on. But we did make the news for not being a super spreader. Because we did do contact tracing and we did wear masks and we did socially distance. We did all the thing because I normalized it through social media, right? So again, the power of design is there, right? And again, this is just me being me, trying to share it with the community, right? I wasn't changing any modalities and I was using the tools that I already had, right? For just a different event. So again, hopefully that helps you. But again, I'm going to land the plane. I promise. I'm very, very close to getting the plane landed. So after we get married, Patrick and I decide, the world is crazy, so we're just going to go on a cross-country road trip because we can stay in the car, right? So we did. We went on a very wiggly-woggly cross-country road trip, and the whole time we had lots and lots of time to talk to each other about what we wanted and what we were doing and all the other kind of stuff. We're teaching remotely from the road sometimes. Sometimes in the hallways of the apartment buildings where we're staying at, just really depends. But what happened and that was really important to this experience is having the opportunity to really kind of carve out what I was doing. So this is the landing the plane part. So remember, for me, Nacho, Momma Designs, my art is my identity. I connect a lot of what I put out into the world through that lens. I never found my place in design. Again, I went from in-house graphic design to corporate design to ad agencies. I'm doing freelance, and I never felt like I belonged. But that's part of my brand, right? I don't belong anywhere as a mixed race person, but also as a mixed race first generation person, I'm always grinding, right? And I know y'all are too, right? So ultimately, and if you have it or never heard of it, first gen guilt. So first generation college students tend to have a very different social strata than their previous generation. So there is diaspora for that. So I'm carrying that around, especially as we had just been immersed in all of my very large family. Again, I'm the eldest of 13. My father's the youngest of 13. Multiply 13 by 13. That's how big my family, and then add cousins to that. So the education I got through Micah is isms is an industry. Fashion, marketing, advertising, graphic design, they all have isms. Racism, classism, sexism, all of these different isms. The question is that I was having for myself is what ism do I want to play with? What ism do I want to work on? Or what ism do I not want, that I want to break, really? So ultimately, though, but I found my agency, right? My personal control through art and design. And that ultimately I found the power of liberation through sharing graphic design with others. So when I got to UArts, which again, like the Art Institute, it's another school that's 6 figures, but they're 6 figures per semester. So the social strata of the students that I'm teaching, wildly different than me. Per academic year. Per academic year, and they got 4 years. So that's a $400,000 career. So I'm like, so when I say, how do we, change the world for social good and how do we break racism? And they're just like, who cares? So, which again, they want to be artists. They have a different, their identity is everything. And the idea of taking critique was really, really hard for them. The idea again of us and them and me and them was very, very separate. And that ultimately, like I learned is that they cared about credentials, what I cared about curiosity. So we just had a lot of difference, right? So I'm telling all this to Patrick, and the thing that we worked on and workshopped to was the thing I want to work for is an HSI. So that's an acronym for Hispanic Serving Institution. So some colleges are PWIs, which are predominantly white institutions, which Arizona State was at the time when I went, or an HBCU, which is a historically Black college or university. That was my vision. The other one that I had an idea for is working especially with first generation folks as a person who is first generation. And the idea that I really wanted a school that had a social justice vision. That's my resume that I'm walking into as I walk into Chicago. So why am I telling you all this? This is landing the thing, right? To say, tell everyone you know exactly what you want. Because remember that whole long thing that I just said, right? We get to Chicago after that long, crazy, from Philadelphia, get married, and then go across the country to come back to Chicago where Patrick lives, right? Because we're like, well, if we have to live anywhere, we're not going back to Philadelphia. We're going to go to Chicago where Patrick lives and is working and has a tenure track position. So let's do that. Patrick at Oakton has the most wonderful chair, Mohammed Mendy, who is has a lovely network of other faculty members. And when he heard I was coming to town, he was like, I know that kid, Patrick. I don't need to talk to him anymore. I want to know Nacho. So he organized another social distance party where he introduced me into the entire Chicago network. Little did I know that Mohammed is best friends and sat me next to his best friend from his undergraduate when he went to the University of Toronto. And he so this person, does the one thing that every single time you come to a networking event like this or any other one, what's the first thing you ask people? What do you ask people when you meet people? That's the first question. Yeah, that's really the first question. Are you hungry? And then after that, when you are eating, what do you do? What do you do? Or where do you work? Where are you from? Exchange phone numbers. Yeah, sure.
What's your name?
What's your name? But his was, tell me a little bit about yourself. What did I say? I want to work for an HSI. I want to work for an HBCU. I want to work for a socially adjusted-minded, college or institution that caters to first-generation college students. That's who I am. Thinking, I'm just saying this because I'm like, I just had been grinding this out in my mind. Little did I know, he works for Dominican University. I don't know who Dominican University is. He's like, well, they're an HSI that works with first-generation college students, and they have a social justice mission. And I'm just like, okay, brag much, right? Whatever. But he's moving, so that's my wish list. He's moving on to Columbia University, which is the opposite of Dominican. So he's going to the fancy art school in downtown Chicago. And he's like, so I'm not going to be teaching at Dominican anymore. Do you want me to recommend you? Guess what I said? Please and thank you. So I started off as a lecturer. So again, this is like middle of fall. By spring, I'm teaching at Dominican as an adjunct. By August of that same year, they're pushing a contract across the desk saying, we want to keep you full time, right? So ultimately, so I've expanded from that one class that I adjuncted that first year. So I teach everything from intro to capstone. I also teach, starting this semester, on top, there we go, self-promotion, right? So, and capstone, which is ultimately the official, like, we're sending you out into the world, right? So you are fully professionally prepared. So I've done it a couple of times, but this is where we get to the final one, right? So I've been workshopping this idea of how do I keep working on this 6-word, right? Shortest, sweetest, short story of my life. And this is my third, and you can tell me, is this my final? You can workshop it with me. My final one, which is navigating chaos to clarity with craft y corazón. And if you don't know what corazón is, that's heart. So that's my whole thing. So again, I know it's heavy. I'm talking social justice and all this craziness, right? And how to get my mission down to 6 words or less. Although some of you are ahead of the game, right? You're like, I got that, Nacho, whatever. But if you're feeling right now, you're like, how do I even do that, right? That again, the 6-word shortest story, like that's not me. It totally is you, and you can utilize tools. So my favorite one, take AI. If you have no ideas, let it generate the ideas for you. Right? You don't have to take them. They're tools right in a toolkit, right? So if you throw this in there and say, hey, ChatGPT, what's the shortest, most amazing branding short story for me? Here are like 25 things about me. It'll spit something out. Most of it's not great, but some of it'll like, ooh, I like that part. Oh, I like that part. And then all of a sudden we start getting into the peanut butter and chocolate of oppositions, right? The serif font with the, with the cursive font or the handwritten font, the oppositional colors, whatever those things are, right? But you can carve that out. And that's how I get to the going from clarity to chaos with craft and corazon, right? Because you know what ChatGPT is not giving me? Corazon. It's not giving me that. So your 6-word tagline that I can tell you right now is, and everybody can read along with me. Let's say it together. My design work
can change the world for good.
You can, right? You are in a beautiful space like fabric, right? This is a network of beautiful people that are trying to, again, this is a sustainable platform, right? You're not trying to make, well, maybe some of you are trying to make that $1 cajillion, but you're not trying to do it exploitatively, right? You're trying to do this sustainably. You're trying to do this locally. You're trying to do this in collaboration, right? So ultimately, no matter what you're doing, because you're in this space, I know you are already walking this walk, right? I'm not worried about you. So the task that we have is ultimately, right, I want you to workshop this as you walk up to somebody else. You might ask me or somebody else, like, what do you do? Can you give me your 6-word tagline? If they can't, be like, well, just talk me through it. Like, talk me what you're working on. So maybe we can get it together, right? So thank you so much for putting up with me.
Yay!
My long ass-windedness. I still have chocolates.
I was going to say, I did the same thing with ChatGPT, and here's mine. Tell me if this is right. So this is what ChatGPT told me I am. Sustainable fashion trailblazer and fashionpreneur matriarch. Does that sound good? Does that work? Yeah. So do it, because I was like, what? It knows me way too well, right? Yeah. That's a little creepy, but it really worked.
Well, and it'll give you words that where you would say, like, you know what I am? I'm a matriarch. Right. He's like, it's true though. Yeah. Right? Yeah. The trailblazing.
Makes me feel old, but
well.
Okay.
We all feel certain things, right? But ultimately, the thing that I know that a lot of people do, and I run into this all the time in my self-promotion class, folks don't want to talk about themselves because they don't want to sound braggadocious, right? They don't want to be that person and be like, I'm just me. I'm just trying to do my thing. It's like you get small, and like, even again, notice the body portion, like this. No, right? The whole part, right, is to roll it back and say, like, when you say trailblazer, are you saying trailblazer? No. We're saying trailblazer, right? Matriarch, she's going to point at the baby. She's like, matriarch.
Big old baby over
right? There. Big old baby, right? So the whole thing of, like, there are words, again, that we wouldn't necessarily walk up, like, to people and say, you know who I am? I'm a trailblazing matriarch. What are you, right? But how different would our conversations be if that's how we're walking up to each other, right? If we're walking up with that maple syrup and saying, who am I? This is me, right? Let's talk, and if that completely intimidates some folks, what am I going to say? If it intimidates folks?
Who cares?
Yeah. Tough shit. Good. I don't care. Because you was like, you might turn some people off. I'm like, good. Good. Yeah. So that's the other one too. Like, there are going to be people who don't like what you do. And you don't want to be Walmart. Nobody in here want to be Walmart. We don't want to sell clothes at $3 because we're doing it through exploitative labor and throwing it into a landfill. That's not what this is, right? So there are going to be those Walmart folks that are not going to like you. And that's okay. Yeah. Right? So if they're intimidated by your concentrated, forward, tagline, your trailblazing matriarch, if that intimidates, it's like, good. That means, well, you know what you did? You just saved yourself however many amount of hours or time figuring out if we were a good match, if we're good partners, if we're a good community member.
Or the right customer.
The right persona, right? So if you can get to that 6-word tagline, even if, so if you're not a graphic designer, if you took that, imagine taking that 6-word tagline to a graphic designer. Guess what you just gave me? Rocket fuel. Rocket damn fuel, right? So like,
speaking of that, do you still do contract work if somebody wanted to hire you to help them with their branding style guide, where you're going to help them with fonts, colors, the whole shebang, logo, all the stuff?
Yeah, if you guys want, I do have, and I will give it to you for free because we're a free community, right? I will give you my branding questionnaire for free that kind of gets you started with that thing. I also gave you this free thing, right, to get you to your 6-word tagline. And if you still feel stuck after that, right, if you want to talk to me, right, or I also have a lovely, amazing network of students who I've trained, right, that maybe you like their style better. Because again, you might look at my style and be like, I don't need that pinup girl thing. That's not me, right? It may not work for the carpet bags.
She does lots of other stuff.
I do lots of other stuff, but maybe like for the carpet bags, it's like, that's not me. But I'm like, do I know a girl that totally would hook you up and like she got your style and like that look? Because I'm like, I picture the fabric. I know exactly what the fabric is, right? I know exactly what designer to connect you to. Right. So if I'm not the person for you, that's cool. I have a network of people that I can connect you with.
So how can everybody reach you?
I am on, Instagrams under, oh gosh, how far back is that?
So probably just put Nacho Momma Designs in Google.
Okay, so Momma's is spelled weird. That's why, there we go. Momma's is spelled weird, remember? Mommas. So Instagram, Nacho Momma's Designs. My URL is the same exact thing. So DM me, send me, if you have sketches, if you want feedback, I'm totally down to throw it in. Or if you're ever in Chicago and you want to take a graphic design class. But if Chicago's too far, again, a great local location. What would be your guess? Morgan, what would be your guess of like Mesa Community College, right? Or any of ultimately the Maricopa Community Colleges have wonderful, amazing faculty. They have amazing classes. So if it's something that you want to learn, right? Again, that's another one too. So like, however you want me to connect, if you want my hand in it, great. If you want me to connect you with someone like that specializes in a certain look and feel, I can find it for you. And if you want to do it yourself, because some of you might be DIYers, right?
So I want to see if anybody came up with a good 6-word thing or tagline or anything and pick a winner tonight before we leave.
So anybody feel like they won or they got it?
I got celestial, chaotic, iridescent toker.
Whoa. Something tells me that's very accurate. I love it.
Celestial, iridescent, chaotic, iridescent toker. Toker designer? Toking designer?
Like toker. Like I want like a lot of like weave. I want that celestial like vibe with pops of colors.
Gotcha.
I'm still working out.
Yeah.
You should see my work
Yeah.
plan. So
Yeah.
It's just like in cake.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear another one. I love it. Sam, retell us yours.
Sweet decadence and grotesque elegance, but I could drop the and.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet decadence and grotesque elegance.
Okay, and you're going to say yours again.
So that's sound full.
Creating for the other world where magic lives.
Who else had one that you said earlier? Okay.
Authentic, alternative, mixed metal storytelling.
Ooh. That's a resume. Yeah. Yes. Be like, a little bit about me, right? Animator, storyteller, mixed metals.
Okay. So you're making jewelry?
Well, no, I'm biracial, and a friend of mine that actually is studying architecture says mixed metals are stronger. So
okay. Got it. Oh, that's cool.
So mixed and mixed.
Anybody else have one? Yes.
And my brand's tagline.
You want to say it in the mic so people on the camera can hear?
It's by any dream necessary.
Cool. I love it. Anybody else?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay, then we're going to pick.
All right, so by hands, right?
I think everybody who did one needs candy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, another one, right? Kai got hers, like, yeah. So,
did everybody get candy that did one? Did you get candy?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Did you get candy? You want some?
We'll get you.
Yeah, it's more candy.
So, okay. Do you guys mind standing or coming forward? Can kind of do the hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Why don't
So we'll have to.
Why don't we just point at each person?
Okay, so I sit down.
Yeah. There we go.
That's class.
And we'll say,
okay, stand up, get in the front of the room. Do it.
We'll do it by a round of applause. Yes? Or put your hands up. That's what we'll do. So we're gonna have each person. I'm gonna point to the person. Everybody put your hand up, and whoever has the most hands is gonna win the bag. Okay. All right. So say yours again.
Celestial Chaotic Iridescent Toker Design.
Okay. Put your hands up if this is your winner. Okay.
Liking it?
Okay. Okay. We have 5. All right. Sam.
Sweet Decadence and Grotesque Elegance.
Put your hands up if this is your winner. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to vote for that one. 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. And then Gail. Yeah.
Creating for the other world where magic lives.
It's pretty cute. Hands. Okay. 1, 2. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. 3. Okay. And then we're going to go over here.
Authentic, alternative, mixed metal, storyteller, and animator.
Hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, we have a tie. Can you vote for yourself? Oh, 9. Okay, 9. This is our winner so far. And back here, if you want to say yours again.
By any dream necessary.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh boy, wait. Everybody put those hands up again. I think that was a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's our winner right there. Nice job. Let's give him a hand. Make it the bag. Awesome. Here's your bag. There's just some goodies in here from the Label Horn Show.
Yeah. So ultimately, yeah. So some of these might be divisive, and they should be, right? They're going to carve out your personas and the people that, well, one, I know what you're nodding at, by nodding to, by any dreams necessary, you're nodding to Malcolm X, right? So folks within the community be like, that guy, what I don't even care what you sell. Whatever you want to sell me, let's go. Let's talk about it, right? Or that intrigue of like, well, what is your dream, right? So talking to those kinds of things. So don't be afraid of that, right? Be your true self, whatever that is, making it happen.
So we're going to end with one question. We usually do questions, but we're kind of running late. So I'm going to allow for one question. Does anybody have a question before we call it a night? All right. Well, that means she did her job. Oh, okay. Guess you didn't do your job. Okay.
Like, have you ever taken time to actually reflect, like, from when you first started to where you are now and seeing everything you have done? Like, have you ever had a time to reflect that, even to I don't know, I'm trying to, how to say it, like, it's like, have you ever like reflected afterwards being like, oh, I did not see that coming and I'm grateful for like things that has happened? Or is it something you're like, I just never knew what I was doing, I was just kind of going for it, and whatever kind of came along the way leading me to where I was? Does that make sense?
I think as a first generation person, I think especially even as a woman, sometimes you just kind of have to like, just do things and go, well, and just be like, well, this is the grind I'm going to do today. Like, and sometimes even as it was happening, I'm like, well, the gritting that I'm doing is my teeth. I'm just like, oh, okay, just keep going, but I think, yeah, overall, like there's multiple times in my life where like, sometimes it was life that stopped me. Sometimes it was a friend that stopped me, or sometimes it was literally like, well, then it was my boyfriend, then became my spouse stops me and says, wait, what's that? Right. So I think that's the other part too. And it comes to like, if you're struggling with where you are, or you aren't exactly where you want to be, like asking those friends, like, what do you see? Like, what do I need to see? How should I think differently? Right. Because that's the cool part about those relationships is that, again, some of you guys even called some things out to me that it's just like, I never thought of that. Right. That's a really great point. Right. Or gave me those, even ChatGPT can be your friend in this situation. Like, would you call yourself a trailblazer? Not before, but now I'm absolutely calling myself a trailblazer. Right. So, yeah. It's going to wax and wane. There's time, like, not that I'm religious or anything, but I think about that, there's a time to reap and there's a time to sow, right? So there's going to be times of education. There's going to be times where you actually get to execute. There's times of ideation. And then there's times, where you're, I got nothing, right? So kind of going with the flow of like, and not necessarily trying to control it, right? And saying like, okay, maybe this is a drought time, or maybe this is an abundant time, or maybe, maybe what the re-Tetrising of what I think is measurement and success will change, right? Success to you right now might be like, I'm selling 1,000 of these shirts, right? Or it might be that I have 1,000 followers, or that I made 1,000, wholesale sales or whatever. Like, again, and those might evolve over time. So also being kind to yourself, right? And treating yourself like that friend that would be that soft person that would say like, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing this, like maybe be nice to my friend a little bit more. So, but no, yeah, absolutely. Those goals will evolve. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. I just want to give her one more round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was awesome. Appreciate you teaching us all of this stuff. That was amazing information. If you have a brand and you need help, again, contact her. Think about all this stuff, how you're going to project who it is that you are and how you relate to your brand and what your brand is. And just like nail that, because that's how you get sales. That's where everybody struggles. Okay, we're going to do this again, you guys, in January. We do this every month, the last Thursday of every month. So I'm going to send out in the newsletter and post on social media. Pay attention. Please come to the next one. I believe the next one is going to be Brian, who is sitting in this chair, raising his hand right now. Brian has an amazing story. I can't wait to actually hear more of it. But he is like a master tailor and pattern maker, worked in the industry for lots of the big brands and so he's actually going to be an affiliate partner here at Fabric, and it's going to be helping the designers with their brands as well, with their designs. So we get to hear all about his experience, and he's going to teach us a little bit about something. Yes. So we'll see you next month in January, last Thursday. Yes. All right. Thanks again, you guys. That was awesome.